moved to another shelter.
Nah, you know I was in Rutgers.
I really missed you, girl.
Yeah, and apparently these roots too. What you been doing? What you been doing?
Nothing gets the roots mixed you too.
Wait! Before we start talking about this film that's in theaters right now, selected theaters, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right at the bottom, right? This is a film that's directed by A.V. Rockwell, and it stars Teyana Taylor. If you remember Teyana Taylor, she was on that Sweet 16 and she was popping out the box and stuff back in the day at MTV.
For me, I think she's most famously on that Kanye video where she's like got she's got a very athletic figure and she's like dancing really hard.
Fade away.
I feel it. She had a whole career as a singer. She's got a little side hustle as an actress, and now she's like starring in 1001.
Her name is Inez, and she plays a woman that is like getting out of jail. She's down on her luck, and she gets out of jail. She goes to Brooklyn. This takes place in 1994, and she sees this little boy walking across the street because apparently it is her kid just walking the street. And this kid has been in the foster care system because she was in jail apparently, and she wants to do better. So she basically takes this kid from the foster care system without telling the foster care system what's going on.
Right. She rescues her son from the foster care system, who apparently they suck ass because the little kid's just walking around the street. Right. So yeah. So they flee far away from Brooklyn, far away to Harlem.
So wait. You didn't go like out of the state?
As someone who lives in Brooklyn, Harlem might as well be on the moon. So it's, yeah, I get it.
She doesn't have a place to stay, so she is basically couch surfing from friend to friend to get by until she can get on her feet.
Yep, and she does this until she can finally afford an apartment, and it's apartment 10-1, aka 1001. So that's where we have the title of the film, and the film is about the tenants of 1001 and what binds them. And what binds the tenants in apartment 1001 are secrets. Boy, everybody's got a secret. And as the film goes on, you think you understand, you think you know who all these characters are, but you don't. And the little boy, Terry, he grows up to be a very timid, very quiet, soulful, smart child.
Very smart kid.
And for the life of me, at first, I was like, why is he so timid when his mother is the exact opposite, right? She is loud, she is in your face, she is combative.
Pardon me?
But he's very nervous. And as the film goes on, you learn why. I think the movie's trying to say when you grow up with these kind of secrets, you kind of grow up with a level of fear, a fear of being found out. This has been a defining feature of his life, holding on to these secrets.
That took all the way until the end of the film. Like literally the last 30 minutes of the film was involved around that.
Right. And for the most part, the film doesn't really have a conventional story. It's you just kind of observe this family through time from 1994 to about 2005. While they're going through their own personal dramas, the city around them is changing. The movie kind of stops sometimes just so you can listen to Rudy Giuliani talk about cleaning up the city, you know. And I imagine if you're white, that sounded amazing, you know. but if you're black, a lot of those policies were terrible. The police were just harassing black people left and right, and this was a big part of the film. Where Terry really couldn't walk down the street without the police harassing him, which is a big issue because he got stolen from the foster system. And if they found out, my God, the whole house of cards would crumble. And then as time goes on, the movie stops again to talk about Mayor Michael Bloomberg and how while he didn't focus on crime, he focused more on property and how this had a humongous effect on the tenants of 1001 because, I mean, they were just barely scraping by. And now that gentrification is hitting New York hard as hell, they are having a very difficult time remaining in that house. So some of that stuff I found really interesting and really intriguing. The movie even hints that it's going to talk about 9/11. Like there's a moment where it says 2001, and you could just tell by the way everybody's dressed that they're in the fall, and you're like, oh, we're going to talk about 9/11. And the movie's like, anyway, it doesn't do it. And I think the movie's trying to say that while 9/11 was just a terrible event, it did not affect the average black person as hard as Rudy Giuliani and Michael Bloomberg. you know what I'm saying? It did not hit Harlem as hard as those two mayors. And I thought that was very interesting.
It's like a whole different world out there.
Like again, might as well be on the moon. For the average Black American, it did not hit them as hard as much as the way property values changed, the way policing imprisoned a lot of Black people, particularly Black men, and broke up their families. And so some of that stuff is really interesting. But like I said, the movie has kind of this kind of like floaty, nebulous thing going on where there's no real central story or even like a real central conflict until the very end.
I feel like this director did capture the 90s very well. The look, the earrings. I was like, my mama had them earrings back then. I know. Okay. Going on to the 2000s, because Devin and I come straight from that. You know, this kid is literally our age now.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
I want to talk about Lucky.
Oh yeah, Lucky was one of the most interesting characters, especially when all the secrets come out.
Lucky was a dude that a lot of single parent homes see. He's a guy that's a hustler. A papa is a Rolling Stone. And kind of, yes.
The stone's not rolling in the way you think it is, though, which is the kind of the big twist at the end.
Yes. And he has his bond with the boy.
What makes Lucky interesting is for the bulk of the film, we see Lucky through Teyana Taylor's point of view. And from her eyes, and again, Teyana Taylor, she is also a hustler. She is also a crook. And we are told over and over in the beginning that she may not be the most trustworthy person. Okay? Like, she literally comes out of jail in the beginning of the film and she steals a kid is her first decision, right? So we really shouldn't trust her as much as we do. But from her perspective, you're right. Lucky is a Rolling Stone. Because from her perspective, Lucky will stay at the house for a couple days and then he'll just vanish for weeks. And Lucky, from her point of view, Lucky's eyes always looking at girls in the street, and you know, you're like, oh, okay, he's like unfaithful and all this.
You should try and be quiet, right? Quiet like when you went missing for weeks and I sat here and said nothing. And never mind who you was with.
See, Dad.
If I get any more quieter, I won't even have a f***ing voice at all.
You know, I'm not about to sit here and argue with you.
But there's a lot more to Lucky. When Terry gets older, he asks Lucky, so where do you go? Where do you, when you vanish, where do you go? And I thought it was interesting that Lucky did not answer. Lucky changed the topic. He was like,
subject.
He was like, well, anyway, let's shoot some hoops. You know, he didn't. Yep. He wouldn't talk about it because Lucky's life was 1,000 times, 1,001 times more complex than you would think at first blush.
I had a feeling that this film was going to go to the point where one of the adults that's in Terry's life is going to die.
And when Lucky passed, Lucky's true side was finally revealed. When he passed, they had him a little memorial, and this woman with her kid shows up, and she's like looking at the memorial, and Terry's like, who is that? And Terry's mother's like, oh, that's Lucky's daughter and his girlfriend. Terry's like, what? He had a whole nother family outside of ours? But the big twist is that you thought Terry and Teyana Taylor were like the main family. They were not. They were the second ones. Lucky's true family and his true side was with his blood daughter. He's a complex character now. He mostly stuck around for Terry's benefit. Lucky and Inez's relationship was terrible. It was just awful. And Lucky probably should have. Yep. Lucky probably should have left. And he didn't. And he didn't for Terry's benefit because he knew that timid Terry needed a father. And so
Terry.
Yeah. So while you thought that Lucky was a Rolling Stone and he was a kind of a bad guy, he did a bad thing, but for the right reasons, right? He's stuck with the second family, which is just terrible. But he did that for the right reasons. And this feels like the big theme of the film, right? Teyana Taylor steals Terry, which is a bad thing, but she did it for the right reasons, to give Terry a better life. Meanwhile, in the background, we've got Rudy Giuliani and Mike Bloomberg doing awful things for awful reasons, and they get away with it. It's totally legal. It's totally legal when they literally terrorize the city for decades. But when Teyana Taylor does a good thing, it's illegal. So I think the film, like this complexity that the film has, I think this is like the big theme. Teyana Taylor is probably a bad person, but she is trying to do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
And that is fascinating.
And with the boy, he is extremely smart. Fell in love with a girl from around the way. She's going to Clark Atlanta. You know, everyone Terry talks to, you realize they say they're leaving. They're like, oh, I'm moving to Florida. Oh, I'm moving to Atlanta. So you can see like the gentrification of New York really happening, like where black people are starting to exit and the white folks starting to move in. And to come to think of it, when we were in school, when we were in high school, we had a lot of people from New York that was in our high school.
They were so annoying. I can say that now because it's a million years later and I live in New York now. They're like, no, I'm from New York. I'm like, well, shut up and go back. They're so annoying. Couldn't stand them.
Take your Timbs and your bubble jackets back.
Exactly. Damn.
Oh my God, y'all, my mama bought me a new iPhone for my birthday.
And we been had that iPhone in New York. What the hell is you talking about? Catch up, busted me on the iPhone. I asked you. Like dead ass, I miss New York. So.
Okay, then why don't you just move back?
Because my mama got a good paying job.
All right, then shut up.
And pull that pants leg down. We don't need to see one leg.
Jesus, one hairy ass leg.
Terry has a confrontation. His guidance counselor is trying to basically get some recommendations for him to work at as like an internship.
She's trying to do him a favor. She's trying to do him a solid.
Yeah. So Terry goes and takes the papers out of his mom's drawer to go give to her, and then the guidance counselor is like, yeah, that's the wrong social security number there, bud. The guidance counselor was gonna see what's going on with this, with the foster care, and then Terry was like, no, don't do it. And it just came out abruptly. Basically, Teyana Taylor is not this kid's mother.
And that's the big twist. Like, the movie heavily insinuates that she is rescuing her son from the foster system, but she ain't. She's stolen some other child. This was a stranger taking another stranger. This is where Teyana Taylor's full personality is revealed. Like I said, she is a crook. She is a liar. She is probably generally a bad person, but she is trying so hard to do the right thing. And she saw this little boy that reminded her of herself and her upbringing. And she's like, I want to give this little boy the life that I never had. And it's the same thing with Lucky. Lucky saw this. He knew. He knew all this. And he co-signed. He was like, you know what? Yeah, let's give this little boy the life we never had, even though they did not go through any legal channels at all.
The last ending image on this scene was when she basically is fleeing.
Yeah, she just goes on the run. Yeah.
She just goes on a run. And the last scene, the cab driver said, so where to? And then you can see the frame slow down. I was like,
and that's the last shot of the film. It's like,
and then she smiles, and I'm like, wait a minute, why is she smiling?
Right.
I'm thinking that she's smiling is because she's like, I did it.
She said that. She said, I won. You got you got the good life. Yeah, I'm a crook. Yeah, I did the wrong thing, and I gotta flee for my freedom, but I did the right thing.
Yeah, you got to get into the good school. You got the good grades, all of that. This is the first time I did not know how to feel about coming out of a film.
I think it's because, like I said, there's no real central plot, right? These guys are just kind of floating around for the bulk of the film. If you cut probably an hour out of this film, almost nothing changes. Near the end, you're kind of like, so what did I watch? What did
I watch? I still did enjoy what I saw. I'm gonna go ahead and give this film a C+.
I think your C+ is fair. I'm gonna give this a B-. I think this film need a couple drafts of the script, because we have some really great performances. But it's a shame that you get such great performances in such a kind of cobbled together film.
Like a narrow film.
Yeah.
It's like narrow.
And I feel like some of the filmmaking in the film was shaky. One of the first shots of the film is like an overhead shot of, I think it was Rikers. You could tell that this was a shot that was filmed in 1994, so the image isn't that clear. And moreover, I noticed that there was smoke coming out of like Rikers, but the smoke was sucking back in because they reversed the footage.
Reverse the footage.
Yeah, and so like I could see like a lot of the weird filmmaking happening in the movie. I could clearly tell when they used old footage. I could see that they reversed some footage. Like it felt a little amateurish at times. While I liked the movie, I liked the themes, I liked the idea of the film. The film is more interesting to think about later than it is to watch. There is a diamond in this film somewhere. I think there's a diamond in here, but we needed more polish because this was a little shaky.
Do you recommend people seeing this film? It is in selected theaters right now.
I actually do recommend it because I like I said, the overall themes, and I like the performances from the actors, but know what you're getting. This isn't quite A1 filmmaking. Not yet.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I don't think you should go and see it in the theaters. It is a good film to watch, and I do appreciate the things that the director did. I don't think you should. You don't need to see it.
But again, like I like some of the themes so much. One of the things I think the reason why Black Panther was so powerful. You got a lot of topics that I think the Black community thinks about and the Black community talks about, but in a big like mainstream movie, right?
Yes.
This had a lot of issues that the Black community talks about, and a lot of Black community thinks about, like crime and gentrification and things like that. But it's in such a small movie and it's such a narrow movie that I feel like it's just going to be preaching to the choir. I think mostly Black people are going to watch this film. And so anybody who needed to actually...
That was my crowd.
Yeah.
That was my crowd. And they had like 2 white folks in the front.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the movie started, they left.
Damn. Yeah. So it kind of sucks that these kind of themes and stuff like that are mostly going to be missed by probably the people who should watch this. I think this would be a really great book. But as a movie...
Oh, man.
As a movie...
But more importantly, do you recommend this film? Did you see 1001? Let us know in the comments what you thought.
I see somebody who needed me. Maybe I'm the one who needed you.
Thank you so much for clicking on this video. We really do appreciate you. Our subscriber count's going up. People is talking to us in the comments, and you guys are great. All right. So if you want to join the family over here at NWO, please hit that subscribe button right at the bottom. All right. And if you did like our rating and review for this film, please hit that thumbs up. All right. Or you can hit that thumbs down, whichever you choose. It is your opinion. Just remember one thing: it is mostly wrong. We'll see you guys in another film. All right. You guys have a good one.